I'd like to welcome everybody. I hope you are all enjoying your week so far. It's Tuesday. It feels like Monday. And we're going to see how it goes since it feels like a Monday. Okay. But today we've got a fun one for you. Okay, guys. Today we're going to talk about turning your service desk into a frictionless growth engine. Now, when you registered for this thing, we initially had called this a hands-free growth engine. And Jason said, well, they probably don't want it to be completely hands-free. They probably want to see that, this thing's functioning correctly, right? So thank you for that, Jason.
Of course.
So we're gonna talk about this being a frictionless growth engine. So before we dive into too much, I would love, we're not going to do a poll at the beginning today. Just, show of hands. How many of you have more than one person in the company? I know there's a lot of MSPs out there that are like one or two guys. If you have a service desk, if you've got multiple people doing service, just hit the raise hand button. I'm just curious. Guess I got to find the participants in order to see if they've raised their hand. All right, so we got two people. Two people have raised their hands. They have other people working in the company doing service desk stuff, so it's not just them. That's cool. And we still have some other people coming in, so no worries there. So then my next question is, how many of you have ever tried outsourcing your help desk to one of those third-party companies? I did. I tried it a few different times. I tried it with Continuum back when they were still, oh man, what was it? Zenith Infotech? Is that right? And then I tried it with, I can't remember the company name, like G Help Desk or something like that. So I tried a couple different companies, or I tried outsourcing my help desk, and I quickly learned that, when you've got, I guess I shouldn't move things around. I'm sorry, guys. I quickly learned, Jason, when you are trying to outsource your help desk and you're doing it to one of those companies where they do unlimited tickets to all of your clients, what you're really paying for is like a certain amount of time, right? There's a bunch of these companies out there. We don't have to name them. That, and I say a bunch. There's a dozen probably of companies that specialize in outsource help desk stuff for MSPs. And of those companies, quite a few of them are the ones where it's like, I don't know, let's call it $30 an end user per month for unlimited support. And let me tell you, unlimited support is not unlimited. They
Maybe unlimited. It's not unlimited quality though. That's for sure.
Well,
There's going to be limitation.
So there's one help desk that I don't think they call it unlimited, but they kind of give you that feeling like, oh, we're going to take care of all your clients' problems. But what it really is they've determined that like the average end user only needs 30 minutes or 45 minutes of tech support a month. So if you're supporting 100 end users, then you might only have, what is that? 50 hours? Am I doing that right? If it's 30 minutes for each end user, then that's 50 hours across all your clients. And let's say Microsoft screws up an update. Well, that probably just burns 75 hours all in one fell swoop, right? So it was really frustrating for me because it was never truly unlimited. And then the other problem that I ran into was documentation. Everything's right here. Okay. It's all in my brain. So if it's all in my brain, I didn't need to write it down because I knew everything. Well, if it's not written down, the help desk that I'm outsourcing to doesn't know anything. So that didn't do me any good either. I'm going to open up the chat. Let me know in chat. Does my like audio video look weird? Are they synced up?
Oh, I think it's working.
Okay. It
Synced
looks
up.
weird to me, but if it's working, I just need to not
Yeah.
look at myself and we'll be okay.
No, we're all good.
So since we're talking about turning your service desk into a frictionless growth engine, let's kind of look at the agenda, okay? So, we're going to talk about why growth can break MSPs, service desks that are under pressure. What kind of warning signs or bottlenecks are there to look for? And we're also going to talk about, Jason says that most MSPs hit a wall around the $3 to $5 million mark. I'm curious to learn more about that. We'll talk about challenges with people and processes. We're going to talk about making that service desk frictionless. And then finally, we're going to do a little AMA, Ask Me Anything. So
Perfect.
hopefully that sounds good to all of you guys. With that, you've already heard me talk enough. Jason, can you tell everybody why should we listen to Jason?
Yeah. So appreciate being able to be here and chat with you all. I've been in the IT industry and ITSP and every version of what we called ourselves before MSPs for a long time, since the early 90s. I've built, grown, and sold a number of IT companies. And my last and largest, we sold, and I retired briefly, and really missed it. We went through a lot of lessons learned. We ultimately hit 50 million in revenue and sold out at that level, and it was a lot of fun. We did it through acquisition and organic growth, and through that, it really learned so much that it was fun to be able to share that with my peers and others that were along the journey with me. So after briefly retiring and failing at retirement, came back and started coaching other MSPs, and so helping companies grow. And since doing that, started a company called Scaled, which we'll talk briefly about today, that provides level 2, 3, 4 technical resources to MSPs, because I saw that as one of the biggest hindrance to growth as well. But through Scaled and coaching, I've worked with probably 120, 130 MSPs. And then through Evolve, as an Evolve facilitator, I've worked with many more through that as well. So I have a lot of experience in the industry and exposure to what works and what doesn't, and spent a lot of time helping folks navigate that growth process. And so what we're going to talk about today really are some of the things that I see all the time. It's a very all the things you just mentioned are very common challenges. There are very few true easy buttons in the MSP world, and that outsourced help desk you mentioned, a lot of my clients have tried. We tried it ourselves and failed for a lot of the reasons you described. Anytime you go into that type of a relationship, it's best to really understand the business model of the company you're dealing with, and understand how they can afford to give you unlimited phenomenal high quality resources at a low price. The reality is they can't. And so there's always time slicing and sharing and all kinds of things that they're trying to accommodate in big capacity for you. And it's a really, really tough business to truly have an outsourced help desk. So most organizations have a supplemented support desk with a resource like from Scaled or someone where they bring in. That's possible, but we'll talk about some of the differences and different models if you guys are interested in that. But a true help desk or outsourced help desk is really tough. Just to go back to your opening comments there, that's something that is not going to be a part of this formula. It's not one that I've seen really work for the long run. Maybe in pockets here and there, but not primarily. So most of what we're going to talk about today relates directly to your own company, your own support desk, and how to grow your company and how to strengthen it as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jason. I'm really looking forward to this. We'll talk later about, what Jason does at Scaled. We'll talk a little bit about what I do with alternative payments. Until then, and even after then, we are going to talk about stuff that's actually going to help you with your MSP. Okay. So right now, we're going to start with why growth breaks MSPs. Now, you kind of initially spoke to me about this like stress test concept and the cracks that these stress tests can reveal.
Yeah.
So, can we before we dive into like too many questions, um, can you just kind of talk about what does stress testing a business really mean for an MSP?
Yeah. Well, we all know what stress is.
Uh-huh.
What breaking our businesses feel like. I'm sure you've all been there at different tiers of growth. But stress testing is hopefully uncovering those cracks before stress causes the fracture to really break. And so there's lots of ways to do it. But some of the questions that I always ask is, if you look at your team, do you really truly understand your support desk's capacity, for instance? We talk utilization a lot. Oftentimes, 80% utilization is a common quoted target, and I say that all the time. I'll give you an example. I have a client that we added 25% additional nodes. They brought in a few clients, big clients, all at once. We did not add to the support desk. We went through this exercise of stress testing and finding where capacity needed to be added, and their utilization without any more people went from 80% to 80%. So we added 25% more people, or 25% more nodes, or MR, if you want to think in those terms, without adding more people, and utilization didn't change. Well, in part because we had some elasticity to the processes. They were scaled to where they were not running at full pace. We had ways to tune and tweak and make them more efficient. But through that stress testing and planning, they were able to absorb that extra 25% without things breaking. And so the stress testing really is understanding what that capacity really is. So understanding your team's work level, not just utilization, but the pace that they're working is important. So how many tickets per day are they doing? And looking at SLAs and making sure that we're really hitting all the targets for sure. And then with a few, we've actually intentionally stress test by having some portion of the team take vacation at the same time, as an example. So we put them on projects, internal projects, but took them off the support desk to see what happens. So simulating a smaller team supporting the ticket count that you have in place today, just as ways to uncover some issues. And so we could talk a lot more about it. It's a lot more complex than that, but really just finding creative ways to find what's going to break, whether it's a process or a system, if it's a team dependency, what's going on that's going to be really problematic when you add more clients. Because frankly, the companies that scale it's not a 1-for-1 ratio. When you add new clients, you're not just simply adding another technical resource to accommodate it. There's a point where that puts a pretty big burden on the structure. And so we can talk a lot about that too, but it really is finding the way to scale up your client base and support an MR without having to proportionally grow the team. And again, just finding those places that they're going to break. So a lot of that stress testing is just truly you're understanding your business and where the weak points are. Most people are going throughout their day and don't really know, right? If their SLAs are being met and the clients seem reasonably happy, then they feel like things are good. But we all want more clients. Well, when you add those clients, is it going to cause problems? So we want to discover that.
That makes perfect sense. All right. Now, most MSPs say they want to grow, right? Show of hands. You guys can hit the raise hand button, right? Show of hands. Who here wants to grow? Whether that means you're making more money, you have more staff. All right. So at least half of them want to grow. Well, that's good. That's good. So, how many of you think you're truly ready to grow? Show of hands. Do you feel like your MSP is ready for growth? And what if it were explosive growth?
Yeah.
None of the hands went up, Jason. One. Okay, two. Two people are ready for explosive growth.
Well, it's there's a lot that we can unpack, but that we talk often about growth, obviously, and you hit on it. What did growth mean? Is it just MR growth? Is it people growth? Is it gross margin and net profit and EBITDA growth? What are we talking about? So understanding, obviously that those are different questions with different answers. But if you're in general looking at growing your MSP, we do need to understand kind of what stage you're in. So it may be the answer is not growth or scaling, but stability, right? So you may be in a stabilizing time. So if things are a little loose right now, you're missing SLAs, your team is burnt out, your leadership spends more time firefighting than leading, the owner's getting pulled back into the daily operations. Those are times where investment in stabilizing makes more sense than investing in growth. And we tend to hit the gas pedal, and that's as entrepreneurs, that's what we do, right? Growth. And you really can get yourself in trouble if it's not planned, structured growth. So you may actually be in a position where stabilization is more important than growth right now, in preparation for that growth to come. But understanding your plan, where you're going, what that looks like, is a big part of successful growth. It's not just go sell more and we'll figure it out. We've all been there and operated that way, which I'll give you a little hint into one of the other questions you lobbed out there, Steve, which is that $3 to $5 million revenue ceiling is that point, right? You've kind of exhausted the capacity of the owner to lead. Brute force no longer is sufficient. Letting the team has kind of done things the way they want it to, and you can grow a $35 million MSP. It'd still be a little loose, but when it goes to 8 or 10 or 15 million, you really have to operate like a machine. So proceduralized everything. So we'll talk a little more about this, but we really I highly recommend that you spend more time in that stabilization mode and building processes and procedures so things are structured before you start adding people and start adding additional clients. So we could talk more about that 3 to 5 range, but that's one of the reasons is that that difference between growth and stabilization and understanding where you are in the stage and preparing for it.
So, we've determined that at least half the people here want to grow, and at least half the people that want to grow don't necessarily feel prepared for growth.
Yep.
So is this where we give them the sales pitch? I'm kidding, guys. So
no sales pitch. There's no easy answer, but being prepared for growth does require you to spend some time. The old cliche of in the business versus on the business. This is really an on the business conversation. You've got to be focused on understanding roles and really getting a team built, not automatically elevating technical people into leadership who don't have leadership skill or aspirations. We get ourselves in trouble there as well. But that the preparation for growth is something that has to be planned and not just stumbled across. Because I've seen many times where companies will hit that 3 to 5 million and they'll retract and they'll get back up to it and they'll retract. And part of that is because they're dependent on stumbling across net new sales. They may get lucky with a tech or two, and then things kind of backtrack. Because you can only run so fast for so long, and it's just not sustainable. So You're on a 10 speed pedaling in first gear, and we really need to start figuring out what the other gears do. And that's where preparation and building a leadership team and strategy is going to really come into play.
Yeah, and don't try starting off in sixth gear, because let me tell you, it's hard.
You won't get up that hill. That's true.
You won't. You won't even get started. All right. So did we talk about like the most common symptoms that an MSP might be experiencing if they're growing faster than their systems can handle?
Sure. I'd be willing to bet everyone on this call could answer that question just out of personal experience, right? We've all been there. But you feel it, the stress builds, right? The team is getting frustrated. Gross margins start eroding. I'm a huge fan of having true agreement profitability analysis and understanding if you're really making money on an agreement. And what will happen if kind of unchecked growth, you're getting spread too thin. Folks are getting frustrated. Your customer satisfaction starts to dip a bit. You're breaching SLAs. And so what actually happens, and that part of that hitting 5 million and then retracting, is we've overstretched ourselves and we can't sustain it, and we lose some clients, right? You've all been there, I'm sure, before too, right? Where now we've got a reputation issue we got to go fix. We've got some other things to repair, and it gets distracting. So now you're not building your business, you're repairing business. So some of the warning signs are going to be obvious. Ticket counts are going up. Employee satisfaction, client satisfaction. You're starting to add people faster than you're able to turn around a bill for it. And so in some ways you're kind of funding your client's growth yourself, right? Gross margins start taking a hit. So the metrics that you're probably looking at on a regular basis, you probably have a sense of what that looks like, but it really is things start getting out of whack, agreement profitability tanks, and we get ourselves into, we're a bit behind the eight ball. We're chasing client satisfaction and repairing relationships versus going and growing the business. And so unhealthy growth can actually set you far further back than if you didn't have growth at all. If you really should be in that stabilization mode, but you're in growth mode, you're going to break stuff, and in the long run, it'll take you longer to grow.
So how do we know when it's time to scale versus time to stabilize? There's like an easy answer, right?
Well, to an extent there is, right? So client satisfaction is high. Our ticket counts are consistent. We've got processes that we're following that no matter who's following the process, we get consistent results. Right, we're not surviving on a unicorn or a tech that happens to be an absolute rock star that's carrying the load, right? So we have clean handoff and escalations. That stress testing I talked about in the beginning, we've demonstrated we have excess capacity. The owner is able to spend time in sales and working with vendors and strategic initiatives versus in the neck deep in the operations. Then it's time to grow, right? Now we've got, when things are good, and when I say time to grow, I don't mean now go get a bunch of clients. Now it's time to scale. Now it's time to start adding team members and expanding the systems and preparing for the capacity. And so it's always this kind of elastic band, right? So we're adding capacity before we add the capacity. Now, the trick is not doing it too big or too fast, because we don't want to impact cash flow, but we definitely want to plan for it. So the answer really is you'll know it when you've got excess capacity. We can start adding clients. We can start adding people without breaking systems. That's when to do it.
And how can we proactively use a stress test just to see where we stand today?
Well, again, I think that using that stress test to understand, and again, I go back to understanding your support desk really, really clearly, understanding the tickets per day that they're doing. If you look at your ticket kill rates, are you knocking out more than 100% of the tickets coming in, or Is the ticket count shrinking? Uh, again, the number of tickets per day, the escalations are clean, all those things. And then let's pull a couple people off the support desk and see how it works. So we start
What do you do
creating.
with those people? Just give them a couple vacation days?
Well, I've had clients who actually literally have said, "Hey, if you got vacation coming up, let's plan. We'll do a whole exercise around this, and you guys are going to be out, and let's test it." Or put them on an internal project for a few days. And we're not talking months here. We're talking
No, no.
a few days just to get a sense of what's going on here. There's other ways to do it, but uh, that demonstrates the processes and procedures, the systems are working. And again, it helps with understanding dependencies there. So that's just one way to do it. But understand you could do it by numbers too, just looking at the ticket counts coming in and the time in which it takes to get tickets done. So you could do it just by ticket allocation. So as it comes in,
I,
I'm going to put more tickets on these guys.
I like the idea of working together with the client to say, hey, let's send this guy on vacation, even if it's an imaginary vacation. Let's just pretend Steve's not available for 48 hours. And let's see what kind of bumps we run into with, just having the other guys support us, right?
I'm sure everyone here has had that experience too, right? Their accountant goes on vacation,
Sure.
and we're scrambling on how to do payroll or invoicing, or the owner. Can the owner take a vacation? So this is true across the board. We're talking support desk today, but understanding your dependencies and capacity is a big part of that stress test that will help you understand if we really are in the position to grow.
So at what point does, Steve step in from this imaginary vacation to fix a problem if somebody's stuck?
Yeah. So
Because obviously we don't want the client to have a bad experience.
we don't want the client
right?
to suffer, right? And so we need to be ready to step in and address issues. But if we, you're a few hours into it and we've already escalated to Steve, who's not supposed to be available, then we pause the exercise and go figure out what's going on here. We have clearly some training issues or a resource issue or a process issue, something broke, right? So,
or maybe it's just a documentation issue. Let's be honest.
could be.
I feel like documentation is probably the simplest, like the first step, right? If it's not documented properly, like it can't be a process issue because nothing's documented. It broke down at the very beginning.
Well, and this is diverging a little bit. I'm a huge fan of daily disciplines. That's what we had in my business. That's what I call it. But at the end of your day, these things have to be done or be true before your day is done. So I mentally think of it like if you're the last guy to leave the office, you turn out the lights, you take out the garbage, you empty the coffee pot, you set the alarm, and you lock the door. Right there's a checklist of things that you don't leave until these things are done. What's the equivalent of that in your business? So from your techs and every role in the business, what are those, the end of day duties that are required to be done? And some of that is ticket hygiene, documentation, communication to the internal team. So what has to happen for you to be wrapped up? And so we focused heavily on daily disciplines, focused heavily on process. If something didn't work, we always wanted to go back to that process, not just the person say, hey, why'd you do this? But I want to know, did you skip a step? Was it not clear? Did we not train you well enough? Is there a broken process? What's happened? So the documentation you're referring to is probably a result of a bad process or an unfollowed process if we didn't document it to begin with. But it does go with it. So we're talking a lot about what that looks like to prepare for growth and scaling. And we're talking about creating systems. And so predictable outcome, if you're a $10 or $15 million MSP, one of the reasons you're going to get there is going to be because you've got predictability and the way you operate. Now, I know some that are in that space and they struggle. They achieve that through even more brute force, but it's rare and it's not really sustainable. I know a few that are really struggling to stay there. Whereas I've seen some that they blew through 15 million on their way to 20 and 30 without thinking because they were so, they created a professional machine that runs really well, irrespective of the resource running that process.
Hmm. So we still have 3 more sections to get through before we do the AMA, guys, just so we're all on the same page. Before we dive into the next section, which is service desk under pressure, I want to talk a moment. You said, that the stress testing thing, this is not just for service desks. Can the CEO take a vacation? Can the accountant take a vacation? That kind of stuff. So one thing I want to throw out there, and I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I'm just saying that this is how a friend of mine is doing it. He has an MSP on in Victoria. What is that? Vancouver Island, right? So he's got an MSP out there, and what he's doing is he's making sure all of his processes as the CEO are documented thoroughly. And and we're talking everything down to, payroll and paying bills and, everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then his first goal was to go out of town for 3 days. And it was around payroll time. He wanted to see if somebody else could do it. Now, was he really out of town? No, he was at home. He was still working. He just was hiding from everyone. He didn't even want them to know he was working. He was doing some internal documentation, whatever, right? So his office manager had to do payroll. She was able to do it successfully. And she had to pay a couple bills and whatever else, right? So somebody else was able to pick up his documentation and roll with it. Now he's also started documenting much more important things for, like, what if he gets hit by a bus, right? What if he's out of commission for a couple months because of a big medical scare? So he's made sure that his wife has certain information, including who to contact in an emergency. So he has connections who are also MSP business owners that he trusts, that he's friends with or friendly with, that they have an agreement where, if something happens to either of them, they can, support each other's business. And if it needs to be they'll figure it out. I don't know all the details, right? But
Yeah.
he's worked out some stuff like that. What are your thoughts? And I don't want this to become a big thing because we are talking service desk, but what are your thoughts on that, Jason?
I love it. And I highly recommend it. By the way, I always recommend also that if you can break down the tasks within your business, you should have a primary and secondary front for everything, every function if possible. And what it does, it allows you to do those things, right? So, hey, today you're going to be the primary. You're going to handle this on my behalf. So you don't even have to disappear for that to function. You can just define that ahead of time and start sharing some of those responsibilities. But I love the idea of stress testing every function within the business, including the owner, for sure. And this ties into automation and AI. Obviously, that should be a part of every conversation we have today. But AI and automation are not the same. Automation really are workflows and using all the tools that we've got. We have incredible tools at our fingertips. That's what we do. We're technologists. The fact that we are still manual in this business to the degree that we are is really mind-boggling. We really should be much, much more automated. And so if you look at developing workflows, it reduces the amount of training and documentation that you have to have. So that situation, that scenario that you just described, had the systems been configured such that there are triggers and some automation in there, maybe there would be less of that you'd have to hand off. Now, it's something you have to do carefully. You don't want to over automate without visibility. There are downsides to it, but it is something that you should be baking in.
I say automate everything.
As much as you can. Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about what it looks like when the service desk is under pressure. So we're going to dig into some bottlenecks, people, leadership, strain stuff. All right. So Um, and when, let's say you're in fast growth mode, all right, you're scaling rapidly. Which do you run out of first? People or leadership?
Definitely leadership, no doubt. Good leaders are really hard to find. Good managers are hard to find too, and so it's very common to outpace leadership. Most of the leaders in most organizations have never been a part of a company bigger than the one they're in.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the owners. And so maturity in leadership is really tough. And we spend almost zero time investing in leadership skills and developing our people. We spend most of our time and energy doing operations. I've got a cliche saying I say all the time, but it's true that measurement is not management, but you can't manage without measurement. And what I mean by that is too often we're focused on numbers, but we don't really spend time and energy getting helping people achieve the numbers that we need. And so the management side, the numbers are there as a goal and clear expectation of what we're trying to achieve. The management side, though, is helping and supporting them and getting there. So there's no doubt that in growth, your leadership capacity maturity is going to fall off first, and that will be a real hindrance for growth.
So, leadership. Have you found that with certain MSPs or a certain, what's the word I'm looking for? The culture within a company, does it make more sense to bring in somebody from the outside for leadership, or does it make more sense to promote from within?
I'd say there's not a right and wrong answer necessarily. I love promoting from within, but realistically, what's happening is you're putting someone that has a specific set of skills into a position they've never been in before.
Sure.
And this is true of every category of management. Oftentimes, the best sales managers are lousy salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
The best salespeople oftentimes are not good sales managers.
How are the best sales managers lousy salespeople?
The salespeople means that you have to love talking to people. You've got to hear no 1,000 times. You got to be persistent. You love getting in front of people and solving problems. A great sales manager is really making sure that the right activities are being driven, right? That we're achieving our quotas, and so they're holding teams accountable. Salespeople are not always great at holding people accountable. They're pretty fast and loose. So think entrepreneur versus entrepreneur versus a COO, for instance. Very different mindsets. And if you look at promoting people within, I see this path all the time. So hopefully I'm not offending anybody by bringing this up, but I see oftentimes where a really strong, mature, maybe the person's been with us as long as the SE gets promoted up into an SE manager or a service desk manager or some kind of a manager, and they struggle because they don't know how to manage their team, and they were just appeared to their team not very long ago, and now so there's some struggles there. We don't know what to do with them. They struggle. They fail at service management, but now you've got the senior person that you're paying a whole bunch of money to, and we don't know what to do with them. So we tend to stick a CTO title on them and stick them over on the side and say, all right, just go do some really cool and important stuff. And so they were accountable to no one and not accountable for anything. And it's not a super effective position. You see this in this industry all over the place. And it was most of the time, the path to the CTO was that avenue, right? We failed at sales management or service management. And now we're just going to stick you over in this other position because you're really important to us and I don't know what else to do with you. So you got to be careful with that. When you're promoting within, being quick to promote is going to get you in trouble. Now, promoting is important, but promoting with preparation, with expectations, and let them earn it. So I'm gonna make you a pod leader first, or I'm gonna put you in a position where you've got influence, but you're not just automatically VP of services. That is a dangerous leap. Whereas if you brought someone in from the outside, there's a really good chance that you're going to bring in, hopefully, so who's already been there. You're hiring someone with experience that can bring in best practices, hopefully from a bigger, more mature organization. We can benefit from that expertise to help us get launched to the next level. Because remember, that guy you just promoted from within doesn't know any better than what we already do. So all you're really going to get is more of what we already have. You're not getting fresh perspective and opportunity to be better at what we are. So I not suggest it can't be successful. I've seen it be successful, but don't default to that. It's not necessarily the best direction.
Hmm. All right, let's bounce to the next piece. I'm just curious, show of hands, how many of you guys are currently customers, partners of alternative payments? Don't worry, I'm not going to do anything devious with the hand raises. I just want to know how much I need to talk about it. That's all.
Looks like all of them. Listen.
Yeah, looks like we got a lot of customers here, and that's good. That's okay. Hey, look, so alternative payments, apparently I forgot to change all my icons. It's been a day, guys. It's one of those Tuesdays that feels like a Monday for us because we had yesterday off. But hey, look, alternative payments is a payment automation platform, accounts receivable automation platform for MSPs. We will help you get your money from your customers faster. Jason, I feel like it would be so much better if I had you tell people what you like about alternative payments.
Yeah. So I can't raise my hand here, but we are a client also at Scaled. And so if you're a Scaled client, you'll get the perspective of a client receiving an invoice from alternative payments. But genuinely, we loved using the platform. It really that from the invoicing automation, giving clients access, with our clients are all MSPs on the Scaled side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very, very common for them to need to change who the point of contact is, or who needs to get notification, or that need a statement, or all the things that you would expect an active accounting company and growing organization to need access to. They have access to the portal, and it's been really great to give them that information without having to add to our back end team. So this is an area that we see automation and streamlining. Alternative payments is one of those tools that does that for us. So we have not had to grow our accounting team by adding alternative payments. So I'm sure you all are clients, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well.
Yeah. So what I'd like to do for anyone here that is not a current client of alternative payments, if you're interested in learning more about how we can improve your cash flow, let us give you a demo. All you got to do is say, sure, a conversation couldn't hurt. And one of our people will reach out, we'll schedule an appointment, we'll give you a demo, and we'll show you how awesome our platform is and why you should use it. Now, I'll leave that up for another moment. Back to your regularly scheduled program. So we're going to talk about people and process challenges. Let's just dive right in. So when should an MSP start building its talent pipeline? Would you say that before, during, or after growth? I feel like after is a really terrible time to do it, unless it's because you're planning for the next.
It happens. The accidental growth or unplanned growth is when that is the reality. So before, during, and during it is the answer, of course. But even before adding people, I'd say building process is always the best option. If you bring people in, it's a whole lot easier to say, here's how we do things. This is the way we work and how our expectations of you. What I find is that people are going to be more likely to fall in line and follow your structure if the day they started, that was just the way it was, versus if you try to convert them later on. So, of course, before growth is the answer for sure. Building out processes, SOPs. Most of you probably
Yeah.
have those already, but I like to call them
Fingers
playbook.
crossed.
Well, I call them playbooks though. It's not just
Yeah.
a document that's sitting on a share file somewhere that never gets looked at, but it is the collection of workflows, SOPs, the KPIs that go with it, uh, definitely the documentation, of course, checklists, all the things that you need to make sure that we are consistent in the way we do things every time.
Hmm.
And it's something that every business is always discovering. I'll tell you within scale, it's something that it seems like every day there's a new thing where we go, huh, that really needs to be standardized. And
Hmm.
let's relook at that. And whether it's a client threw us a curveball and we had to figure something out, or something we had just not, thought about standardizing in the past. So it's a it's a living organism, but think of it as creating your own governance model, and driving accountability within that. So, long answer to your question, but before growth, ideally, is when you do it.
That seems reasonable. That's when I would assume you should start building out your talent pipeline. Um, Completely unrelated to MSPs, but I feel like it's talent pipeline related. So I'm going to share a quick story and then we'll go on to the next question. I came up with an idea for my church. So I play bass at church. I'm one of two bass players. We're looking for like more everything: guitar, keyboard, drums, singers, everything. We want more. Um, in order to get more, we could just like hold an open audition day, but how do we really know that they're the right person to be on the team? Okay, sure, they can sing or they can play, but do they fit? Does the puzzle piece fit all completely, or is it just that one little side? Because you can fit a portion of a puzzle piece anywhere, because there's really only like two or three different ways a puzzle piece is made, right? It's only got like a few different shapes they use. So what I said was, well, why don't we create like a small group where it's musicians who get together regularly, whether it's once a month, every other week, whatever. And we just talk about music, maybe we jam together, we do like a Bible devotional, and that'll kind of give us the opportunity to determine, hey, this person is like checking off all the boxes and they're okay at playing. We use backing tracks. It's okay if they suck. But they check off a lot of boxes or all the boxes, and then we can say something to leadership. Hey, I think these three people would be great to have conversations about joining the team. Let me know next steps, kind of thing, right? And I'm trying to build a process around uh, building a talent pipeline just for
Right.
church.
I love that. I love it. And that one, so if you're talking the talent pipeline, I apologize. I answered more on the process side
That's okay.
before adding talent, but I will say that from a scale perspective, when companies come to us and their hair's on fire, like
Mhm.
we got a big problem we got to solve. I need a level 3 guy today. What usually happens is we plug that person in, they help them solve everything, everything settles back down, and then they don't know what to do with them because it really
Right.
wasn't a capacity issue. It wasn't a normal operational issue. It was a sudden surge, and we got a fire to put out.
Yeah.
And what happens then? That resource gets bored, and we have other conversations, right? So the ones we've seen that are much more successful, the ones that says, "Hey, we've got a great pipeline right now. We're comfortable with our close ratios. We know what to expect to come up. We're going to need a couple of L2s and an L3 in the next 3 months. Who you got? We want to start talking to them."
Hmm.
Those are highly successful. They're sticky, and meaning that the teamer loves being there. They're just adding to the capacity of the MSP so they can continue to grow and be successful. It's not a firefight. So I would caution you when you're looking at adding resources to understand, is this really a growth issue, or is this a short-term firefighting issue that we've got to deal with, and address the resources accordingly.
So if you had to strengthen one system before doubling in size, I know which one I would strengthen. I feel like there's people, there's process, or maybe it's your profit model. Like between those three, I think we need to strengthen our process because everything revolves around process for MSPs. You can plug
Right.
in any capable technician, and as long as you've got well documented processes, they should be able to follow them. Now, obviously, you probably got to give them a little tour of some things, right?
Yeah.
They're not fixing a Citrix server on day one, okay, guys? But um, yeah, I would say process. Do you have anything
There's no
bad?
question. Yeah, well, there's no question it's process. Again, um, process and clarity of roles. That's the other big thing. I see too many cases where people are wearing too many hats, and they're really not sure what they're accountable for. And so I say this: if you're a company that has 10 techs, and I ask all 10 techs what they do, you should get one answer. And usually I get like 100 answers, right? Because they're like, well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So clarity of roles, super important. The processes, making sure those, I know we've been beating up on process a lot today, but it really will make you more successful as you continue to grow, right? Because you standardize in the way you execute. And it's not dependent on a unicorn. I say this a lot, especially with my coaching clients too. Don't create a role that requires a unicorn.
Mhm.
Like we need someone who's super stellar at these 10 things, and we'll keep looking until we find them. Let's build roles that we know can be successful and that are reproducible, and it's only going to happen by role standardization and proper process creation.
Yeah. What I'd like to do now, before we dive into our next section, Jason, can you give everyone a little more detail about what Scale does for
Yeah,
MSPs?
yeah, absolutely. So, quick sales pitch. And by the way, I would suggest that all of you have this type of 3-point value proposition ready for your own company, just to make it super easy for your clients and prospects to understand what you do. So, with Scale, we provide highly vetted technical talent to MSPs, so level 2, 3, and 4 talent to MSPs exclusively, and we do that out of South Africa because of their English as a first language, cultural alignment, and we just find that they fit really well with our teams.
Mhm.
We do it by making it easy. So we do all the back end hiring, vetting, background checks, extensive testing, and all that that comes from that vetting. But all you have to do is say, "Yep, I'd like to bring on a grade L3," and we'll present you with several candidates to talk to. And if you like them and you decide you want to bring them on, we handle all the back end logistics. We bring them on, and they're fully employed by us, supporting your environment. So they're dedicated to you, employed by us, and we make it easy for you to bring them on. And if you ever needed to release them, it's easy to release them as well. Obviously, we never want you to ever release them, but things happen and life changes and business changes. And so it is something we accommodate, making it as easy as possible. And then the last is we do it legally and with integrity. There are companies out there that hire folks from overseas, including South Africa, as contractors. There are third parties that you can get South African technical resources from, but they hire them as contractors and they contract to you, which creates an employment classification legal issue. So we don't do that. We actually hire them directly with our company in South Africa. We own the company. So they become employees of ours, and with all the South African employment laws that go with it, which it can be burdensome, which is what we take on. When we say we do it with integrity, we provide them to you, ready to go at your direction and discretion. So you're able to direct them as full-time dedicated contractors, and we handle all the back end issues. So highly vetted technical people, make it as easy as possible, and we do it legally.
Great. Well, hey, so I just launched a poll, guys. I've known Jason for a few years now, both Jason and his partner Michael. Um, they're stand up guys. I believe you've got other people in the company. I mean, this isn't
Oh
some
yeah,
like small fly by
no,
night
no,
operation. They've got a
no.
sales team. They're going to conferences. You're going to be at something soon,
We're
right?
we're at Evolve every quarter, and IT Nation. We're often at PAX 8, and you'll see us all over the place. And we
Yeah.
do have a large team in South Africa that handles all the back end logistics. If you have
Mhm.
procurement requirements or branded wear, all that stuff, we've got teams that work for scale full time, obviously, in South Africa that handle all that for you. So again, make it as easy as possible. So
Great. Well, so yeah, if you're interested in learning more, or if you're already a customer, or maybe you're not interested, just answer that poll. It would be really helpful to us to know if anyone's interested, because while we love educating, our goal with these webinars is to drum up a little extra business. So with that, let's dive in to the last section before our AMA, which I don't even know if we'll have time for an AMA. So what I'm actually going to do, it looks like everyone has answered that poll. So I'm going to run my AMA poll is not here. I'm going to make a poll real quick, and it's going to basically say, do you have any questions you wish we could have answered for you? And I'll launch that here in just a moment. And if there's any questions that you wish we would have answered or that you wish we could answer for you, all around making your service desk frictionless, whether it's about the processes, the systems, what it looks like to find talent before you need them. This does not have to be questions about our companies. Okay. So if you have questions around what we've been discussing, we're happy to help. So I'm going to launch that here in a second. Meanwhile, let's make the service desk frictionless. So, growth consumes cash. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. So, what are some of the hidden costs that MSPs often overlook, Jason?
hidden costs. Sorry, I was actually typing an answer to one of the questions here. So the hidden costs obviously are going to be tools and the mechanisms that we use to manage our clients. That's not surprising, of course. Adding new people and the time it takes to get them ramped up. That's probably the biggest cost that I would say when you consider what it takes to onboard a new client. If you've got some new resources in the mix on top of that, there's a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of people taking on a lot more than their typical day. So the cost there is going to be the net impact on the rest of the service you're providing to your clients, and then of course getting people up to speed and ramped up. We see it takes really about 6 months to get a tech to be really effective in their job. So when you think about proper utilization and effectiveness, uh, making sure you allocate enough time for them to really be effective. That's one of the big hidden costs there. It's
Mhm.
not they're not going to hit the ground running day one and suddenly be able to help you onboard, and they'll help, but they're not going to help you to the degree that one of your other more senior people are going to be.
Yeah, that's a good point. I, I would like to think you guys have realized like all your employees need, the Microsoft 365 license and a computer and monitors and all that jazz that they need to like do their everyday work. If you provide any tools to them or any additional licenses for Screen Connect or anything else, right? So you need all of that. But
Right.
then, Jason's right. There's all these other costs that go into training and onboarding and just all the other stuff around bringing somebody on. Maybe you're doing background checks, or maybe you guys do a lot with like CMMC compliance and you have to do some kind of crazy verification for security clearance. I have no idea how security clearance works. I was never in the military. But yeah, just just giving you guys some other things to think about, just in case you don't have, oh, I don't know, a process written all around this so far. Um, any other weird reasons people might have to spend money on a new employee? Like I
Yeah.
don't think I mean, I've seen it at like, somebody gets hired at a manufacturing place and then like, all right, well here, just go get some shoes or, go get some safety glasses or something like that. Right. Like,
Sure.
um, you know, where,
Well,
where, where they have to like send somebody out to go get the right equipment. But I'd like to think
right.
everyone's got slacks and a polo these days.
Well, in this case, though, it's, equipment obviously is a component, the licenses that go with it, but those are really, pretty insignificant. The capital cost of buying the widgets that you're
Yeah.
needed. You need this person to be effective. It is the real cost is training them the way we operate and teaming them up with somebody else that can be their mentor. And if you're not doing that, by the way, you really need to. And the mentor shouldn't be the guy that has the most time available. It should be the guy that you want to reproduce. And so, which often means your most productive guy becomes slightly less productive. The time it takes for you to get comfortable letting them work directly with clients and those introductions. So it's really not about the equipment. It's not about the widgets. It's all about time to productivity and really doing it right. You really don't have the option of just saying, "All right, here's your desk. Go do something productive." That will be a failed onboarding. So proper
Mhm.
employee onboarding means a really an incredible amount of investment and time, not just your time, but your team's time to get them up to speed. But those who do it well, you've at the end of that, now you've got an incremental improvement overall. If you don't do it well, it could actually cost you quite a bit. So yeah, repeating that, the cost is that onboarding. It's not the
Yeah.
equipment.
Well, hey, I'm going to breeze through a couple questions real quick. Riley asked if there's a business operating model or framework that we
Yeah,
recommend. Jason recommended, there's True Methods and SLI. If you want to look at maybe something a little more like entrepreneurial or business oriented, there's
EOS. Yeah,
EOS, yeah,
mm,
Entrepreneurial Operating System. There's Scaling Up.
yeah.
Um, you,
Rockefeller Habits, which is the
yep,
previous version.
yep.
And it really, depending on what you're asking there, the if it is something like how to run your business, the EOS is probably the easiest way to go. But I would definitely say if you're looking for a governance model to structure processes and whatnot, I would consider these or even your own cut down version of IDLE or something like that. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
anything too lofty, but yeah, the industry specific ones like True Methods or SLI are two good ones for sure.
Yeah, and I'd say like, there's even frameworks specifically for IT, like Information Technology Infrastructure Library, ITIL, right? Or COBIT. Or there's, the cybersecurity ones like CIS controls and
Right.
NIST CSF. So it really depends. I mean, obviously you were asking about a business operating model, but I think it's important for you to look at all of the different systems and functions within your company and make sure that everything is aligned with a model or framework that works for you. And it doesn't have to be somebody else's framework. Do you have to do EOS? Or do you have to pick an existing one? I guess not. You could make your own, but do you really want to reinvent the wheel? You've already got a business that you're trying to build, right? So,
Agree. Now, the only thing I'll say is EOS, for as an example, is going to really help you in creating structured accountability. What it is not going to do is tell you really how to run your business, what to do, and that's where an industry specific program might be helpful to you,
mhm,
just to get a sense of what's the proper metric. I mean, how many tickets a day should a great tech be able to do? What is your W-2 ratio and all the things you start tracking to understand, am I operating as a best in class business? What should I expect at my business to be able to do? that's going to come from some of the other models, not an EOS. So,
That makes
but
perfect sense. Yeah.
happy to help there too.
And then
And
the
then,
other question someone asked was, what kinds of tasks do you recommend automating?
yeah,
Are there particular automation tools you like? I would say anything that is repetitive and takes time away from you should be
yeah,
automated. That could be
yeah.
like, Jason wrote down onboarding, offboarding, license reconciliation, invoicing, follow-ups. I mean, there's all sorts of
Oh, it's huge. Look,
service related.
this is an area though that is has so much opportunity, but it's also dangerous because it's you can spend a lot of time and energy on some tools, and they do take a bit of time and energy. Um, and not everyone really leverages them the way they should. But MeBot, Roost is another one.
Mhm.
Pia, there's a million of them out there.
There really are,
And
yeah.
but there's a website called T minus 365 where and the I forget his name now suddenly. His gentleman that runs it is really, really gracious and sharing lots of specific details on how to automate certain things. A lot of my clients have really stepped up their use of automation, workstation deployments, as an example. Just making sure that we're consistent in the way we operate. I will tell you, I do a lot of offboarding, postmortem conversations with my clients. Like if they lost a client, sometimes I'll speak to them and try to get a feel for why they really left. And from my experience, onboarding is a really, really high on the list. Failed onboardings, and it's something that we don't treat seriously enough. For whatever reason, MSPs, we really struggle with new user onboarding and doing it timely, doing it correctly. And unfortunately, the visibility is extremely high. And so automating that makes all the sense in the world for sure, instead of just throwing it in as another ticket. So anyway, that's a conversation. We could have a whole session just on that question alone. Probably should. But start with the things that are relatively easy to automate that you can keep track on. Try not to create black boxes where you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. And start simple. But there are plenty of tools that will snap right into ConnectWise and to some of the platforms that you can use today. Definitely take a look at those.
Awesome. Well, hey, I know we're over by quite a few minutes, so um, I want to thank you, Jason, for attending. I want to thank everyone else for attending. I thought this was fantastic. We're actually going to do another session with Jason here in just a couple weeks. I know we're planning on doing basically the same topic, but who knows? Maybe I'll ask different questions around the same topic, and it'll turn into just more, right? And if over the next couple weeks you guys think, oh man, I really wish I would have thought to ask this, well, guess what? You can in a couple weeks. Okay, so get yourselves registered for that. Jason, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
And I'll catch you guys at the next webinar. Take care, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks all. Talk to you soon.